Good evening, everyone. Yeah, glad to be here. Just gonna start my presentation with a story that just happened to me earlier this year during my trip down to Florida. A lady that I briefly known from the gym came up to me and asked me with a concern about what's going on in my countries. I thought to myself, oh, how thoughtful. The conversation keep rolling, and before I find out that this picture is in her head. Yes, this was the massive earthquake that just happened in Taiwan earlier this year. She was actually asking about how I deal with the aftermath from the Mother Nature. The picture in my head was all about this, which is how to live with junta. And I have no further comment about this because it's very risky. I might have to sign up for asylum after the conference. Obviously, Thailand and Taiwan are two different countries with a totally different background. We don't even share the same writing system, and Thailand using Thai, while Taiwanese is using Chinese. In fact, traditional Chinese to be exact, which is different from the simplified Chinese on the mainland. So the mixed up between Thailand and Taiwan, it's pretty common. What happened to me last year, I have an exchange student in my class at Chulalongkorn Comedy International Program. And she just confirmed me about this because she's apparently run into the same problem, just the other way around. It does show you how little people know about Asia. And in the very same gym, I used to run into a lady who was looking for a karate teacher. And she's innocently asked me to can you teach karate to my son? Which is kind of, yeah, you know what I mean. Let's take a look at the image painted by a tourism industry. Well, when you think of Thailand, you will think of this: gold-gilded temple, demon guarding royal monasteries, or European-style iconic building such as what you see here on the screen is a throne hall. It's also often times seen in guidebook. All this postcard picture perfect. You can just take your iPhone and just snap away. You get the picture perfect. But let's say if you Google to search for Thailand, this is what you're going to get. These are the top images. You will get everything from beaches, exotic place, temple, ancient ruin, riding elephant. You see a riding elephant like at the bottom there. And it's funny enough that even this day and age, people still every now and then I run into people that kind of ask me some silly question like, do I ride elephant to work? Which I don't. Well, I will flash these pictures, array of pictures that my staff went around and took this picture around Bangkok, so you get an idea and see how type behave in the city environment. I realized that Bangkok is not Thailand, but Bangkok is not the whole country. Is just the capital. But you get an idea on how things going over there. well, just like everywhere else, computer technology actually killed the charm of the local flair, vernacular that contribute unique flavor. So you get to in this picture you get to see Apple billboard next to a bus with some sort of like vernacular type painted on the back of the bus. Some of these following image were taken along the BTS SkyTrain route. You get to see this, to be exact, it's a Pepsi ad wrapped around the train. And mobile phone service provider ad use the use of English. You get to see the use of English and Thai in the same layout. And by the way, that's DTAC. That's Telenor Thailand, one of our major clients, as well as Chang beer. And you get an idea of how type fit in daily life over there. In this one, can you spot Thai mimicking Korean script up there? This one show you another clients of us, Grungsi or Bank of Ayutthaya. If you take a look at this picture closely, you probably notice two genre of classes. The one with loop and the one without loop. So we call it loopless. In this picture, you see this billboard. It's very interesting. SE Asset is one of our clients, and on this billboard, you see one big billboard actually split in half. They're selling this a project development called Bangkok Boulevard. The one on the left is called Bangkok Boulevard, and the one on the right called the Grand Bangkok Boulevard. And they're both speaking to a different group of people, two style of property. One fit in the same billboard using loopless for the modern-looking single home, and the conservative style with traditional loop. This kind of contrast is very common. You will see Buddhist Temple with skyscraper in the backdrop, which is, you see these all high-rise, and you see this gilded temple. Buddhist temple can be surrounded by the high-rise, just like this. Just like the sample I show here, the first two on the top are the traditional style, not so distant from the handwritings. The bottom two are the type that were designed to fit with the present-day context, so they can coexist, just like temple and the high-rise skyscraper. As the previous chapter statement mentioned about stop watching Travel Channel and actually go there, the best way to explore is walk the street. Even though it would take only 10 to 15 minutes for me to walk from my apartment to my office. But I refuse to do so because, people would think it's Bangkok, Thailand in particular, about 100 degrees all year round. So it's pretty damn hot there. I personally don't want to walk because I'm going to sweat myself, and I'm probably going to need a shower before I can continue working for the rest of the day. But that's not the only reason. Mainly because of this. You see the sidewalk. This is an actual picture that I took on the way to work. If I decide to walk, this is going to happen to me. This lady tried to squeeze herself through the only gap to safely walk without finding herself walking into the street and probably get hit by a car. Or here, some more picture from the same route that I have to take if I decide to walk. And this. So even this, the flyover that could, should help you cross the street, busy traffic street, but you have to get around the electricity pole there to cross over. So that's a little work. The most interesting thing is the road sign. And this one actually installed by the Department of Transportation themselves. It got bended on both sides, if you can see that. Well, it's got bended by the unknown for a safety reason, of course, before it chopped somebody's forehead open. Obviously, the sign was placed too low. This kind of problem detail, yes. This kind of problem detail you won't get the experience if you are just a tourist. With all the infrastructure that could be found in the big city around the world, as you see in the first half of this presentation, you won't get to see this problem unless you actually walk the street. Taiwan is very creative when it's come to solving problem. This picture is very small because I, grabbed it from the internet. Actually, it was on the front page about a month ago. This picture is real, and it was one that is get my attention. It's just represent the way we solve the problem. The owner of this house in the old capital cities, Ayutthaya province, decided to put a roof on top. Put a roof on top of her house to cover her house, and she claimed that it does help cut her utility down in half. Most of you probably know Thai from visiting nearby Thai restaurant. Did you have Thai meal for lunch? Well, I regularly use Thai food as an example to explain things. In a nutshell, Thai script is it's just like curry. It's like curry culture. It's come from India, all the way from India, got modified with a local touch, using local ingredients such as coconut milk instead of milk. So that's a major shift within itself. Or a dish like som tam or papaya salad also went through its own evolution as well. Not so long ago in my childhood, papaya salad strictly used only papaya in the mix. Somewhere along the line, carrot, which considered an alien ingredient in Thai cooking, somehow made its way into the dish. This must be something about color, because carrot give a nice touch to it. And there's a theory that probably in the 80s in the United States, cooking Thai food over here probably you guys look for a substitution for a substitute ingredient for green papaya, for green raw papaya. So using carrot become a norm, and somehow it's made its way back to the mainland. Pad Thai is another dish that you probably order at a Thai restaurant, and it actually has the word Thai in it. So you think, wow, this is very Thai. Where's the food branding? Interestingly enough, Pad Thai was only invented just before World War II over, before World War II ended. It's actually relatively new, and more than 70% of the ingredients are Chinese. Can you recall the sidewalk that I showed earlier? It just show you, how we solve the problem. It teach me how to get around the not so well designed infrastructure. In this case, I mean design education system, that we cannot wait for the system to be accountable. It's quite shocking that, and this is the facts, it's quite shocking that some design school in Thailand can offer a degree, a graphic design degree, without having typography class. Most of them in Bangkok maybe have one class or have one elective class. Typography is a subject that does not mean much beyond a border of Bangkok. So we come up with this web blog that put together all these articles that I personally wrote, and also from my colleague. A little over a decade ago, after we start that blog, our company, Katsandimak, finally set up a publishing business to publish all the content that we have saved. And what you see here, on top of that, well, I think it would be great if Thai student can get to read the same book, like Stop Stealing Sheep, the classic book that we all know and love from Eric Spiegelman. We actually licensed this book and translate it into Thai editions. We carefully translate the book in a way that is mirrored page by page, so we can have the identical layout, and at the same time, Thai kid can learn English all together with Typography 101. We also designed a new set of font, so the book can truly be translated in all dimensions possible. We find ourselves building and fixing the broken infrastructure. On the other hand, we start a type conference called BITS, a short for Bangkok International Typographic Symposiums. Many type designers around the world kindly made an effort to visit and help contributing the knowledge for Southeast Asian region. At the same time, Thai and Southeast Asian designer can get a chance to speak and share. We have been doing this for 6 years now, and I can't thank Christian Schwartz enough. Where are you? Somewhere? Yay. Yeah, because he's kind of like backed me up and he said, "Oh, you can do it. Let's do it." So that was his encouragement back in 2010. We also used the same kind of a platform and come up with a 2 lecture tour 2 years in a row from 2014 and 15. Thanks to TCDC, Thailand Creative and Design Center, for recognizing our mission and back this up all the way. And of course, since we now have Katsandimak Press, we also archive our tour and its content and turn them into the book, because naturally, as you know, the book live beyond the lecture and benefit both teacher and student. In line with the story about som tam or papaya salad and the coexisting between the old and the new in the cities, one of the notable things in the most recent years is our loop-less typeface, like Sukhumvit, made its way to the font menu, shipped in Mac OS as another choice for Thai. From the outcast to the norm, Sukhumvit make the acceptance of loopless classification that has been around since the 70s. Katsandimak just released a new font family called Thonglor. This picture gives you an idea the new proportion of Thai versus Latin, and we exploring how they supposed to relate it in terms of the height and the width. Thonglor meant to be text-based using a component part instead of a commonly found continuing stroke in Thai typeface. The design is more square when compared to other popular text face. The designs welcome more negative and reform how to manage the negative space inside Thai letterforms. Although it's take up more space in, to print, but it's fully take advantage of non-print media. It was designed for the reader to read faster by reading it slower, so you don't have to read it twice to understand the content. This is the first loop terminal family that can handle up to 6 weight and accommodate with italic. We plan ahead and calculate the right size for the head loop, so when it's get darker, the design won't lose the original characters. The head loop do not close up or become a tiny dot that can ruin your reading experience. And soon Thonglor will also speak loud. This is the Specsman's page sample of Thonglor taken out from our Specsman book. This book we did as a wrap-up for the first 15 years in the business. And more information about and an in-depth story about Thonglor and can be found in this booklet, which is you should have it in your goodie bag. Thank you.